whenever the person takes the gun out of your presence. So at the firing range, that's fine. But overnight even would constitute a requirement for a transfer, right?
If they're not a family member, right?
That's not correct. The only transfers between family members that are allowable are bona fide gifts. And then also temporary transfers between spouses and domestic partners. But anything else, the definition of transfer includes gifts and loans. So all gifts and loans are subject to the provisions of this initiative. And then one of the exemptions, like I said, is spouses. But any loans, if you had mentioned, a friend, but if I'm loaning my firearm to my brother for a hunting trip, then we have to go through a dealer. I was out shooting with my two boys. I have a 28-year-old son and a 16-year-old son. We're out on national forest land. So my son, my 28-year-old son, he has a shotgun and a pistol. So he brought those along. My 16-year-old son doesn't have guns, but I was able to let because this is not in effect, my son and I could trade guns and shoot each other's guns. But under the provisions of this, I could let my 16-year-old son shoot my guns, but I could not give temporary possession of my guns to my son for him to shoot, and he could not give temporary possession of me.
Your adult son.
My adult son, the older son, a 20-year-old son who has the guns, on the same trip. Now, if we were at a range, that would be okay. But we're not on a range. We're out on public land, and that's a temporary transfer, and it's not included in any exemptions. So my son's a gun owner. I'm a gun owner. We can't trade each other's guns and shoot each other's guns because of the provisions of this. We would be committing gross misdemeanors in that circumstance.
Well, obviously, that is taking one small part of this and sort of making an absurd hypothetical. That's not the interest. That's not the point of this. The point of this is to go after bad guys with guns, not families who are on a hunting trip together. And we have a vast secondary market right now today. You could go on the internet and you could find somebody who's got a gun for sale, and you can show up and buy that gun out of the back of their car, no questions asked. That's what this is about. We want to eliminate the people who are out there selling and reselling guns, who are involved. There are some who just like to sell lots of guns, and they probably should have a federal firearms license because they sell so many guns. There are others who are involved in trafficking stolen property, and it's easy for them to sell guns. And the reason that the transfer language is in there is that it's also easy for them to say, hey, I didn't sell it, I loaned it, I gave it away, or so he was just trying it out. And transfer and a sale and a gift are all the same when we're talking about the secondary market that we're really focused on here.
Gun show provisions? What